Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome in to the July live stream. It's all the way at the end of the month, the last possible day we could have squeaked it in. So, which is probably probably what we're gonna do from here on out. I would imagine. I'll continue to do live streams either the last Friday or the second to last Friday moving forward. It's really bright in here. I'm like white. I'm just looking over like I'm like pale. Hey everybody, Blake, Kelso, Kins, Shay, Bobby, everybody else in there that I don't know your names, you just have a Gmail handle. Welcome in to the Friday live stream. As I was saying, we're at the end of the month, last day to squeeze this in, and probably moving forward, we're going to continue to keep that going. So we'll either be the last Friday or the second to last Friday as opposed to the first or second Friday. The vacation, it was pretty good. I set up a Plex server in my house and got to fight through a whole bunch of wonderful issues with computer stuff, with attempting to control that server with PC and having all kinds of hardware issues because I'm using a really old PC that needs a new power supply and a bunch of other random stuff. So it was fun. It was a wonderful vacation that feels like it was months ago and was 3 weeks ago now. So yeah, it literally feels like that was 2 months ago. Like that's how long ago it feels like it was. So kind of flew by. My wife started a new job like the week before that. So things were kind of in an uproar around her new job and stuff. So just all kinds of crazy stuff has happened recently. So, but, okay. So, if you haven't filled out the giveaway, please do that. Click the Google form and navigate to that, fill that out so you get entered to win. That way, when we wrap things up, I'll remind everybody again, but if you do it now, you don't have to do it later. Looks like a bunch of people have already completed it. That's great. It's always a good thing. I don't have a ton of stuff to go over. I got a few pins. I expected to have, it's always this way. I expected to have a lot more back. We just got notified yesterday that all of the anodize is going to get pushed back another week. They're like so backed up. They said they've never been as busy as they are right now. So, months, like they're like 3-4 weeks out, which, in the beginning of this year, we were getting 1 to 2 week turnaround times for anodized, depending on the colors. So I've got a bunch of stuff that's out at anodized that I need to get back before I can release stuff. That's kind of one of the reasons that we've been doing some pre-order products. If you followed along with us, the paint was because we wanted to not overproduce that product. So for like the 250th pins, that was different. But we've released a couple other pre-order products, mostly because I put them on the schedule on when to release them, and we've gotten samples back, or We've been able to put a few together, but I'm like, I need more anodized, or I need more of these in Cerakote or something. And so we're kind of up in flux in terms of just getting product back. It's actually faster and more predictable now to go through and get Cerakote product from Aaron than it is to do anodize, which used to be the opposite. It used to be that I could send anodize out and it would be back very quickly. And so I could plan more around anodize than I could around Cerakote, and now it's the exact opposite of that. So, and expect to see us continue to go down the path of Cerakote over anodize. We're gonna redo. We're kind of stripping away and pulling back on our limited edition special release stuff and kind of honing that in, doing like combinations of things or very curated releases, and that will probably continue moving forward. I kind of need to sit down and go through and make a plan. I do have a plan for a couple very for a couple anniversary releases for this year, kind of like we've done in the past. There's a few like historical event anniversary releases and some literary ones I think that fit. We could potentially go look at doing some releases in those veins, but it's really going to hinge. So much of this hinges on getting outside processes done that it's really kind of thrown a wrench into things. Like, so much of my time was taken up with building the 2 websites and really getting that stuff up that I stepped away from really like dialing in on all of our releases, and things were kind of in a flux and we didn't have a lot of stuff. And now getting back into that because everybody's so busy externally that when I try to plan stuff, it's just not all it's not all functioning the way that I expected it to. So if you've been looking for specific products like the inks and the other bolts besides the ones that we've already put up, those are in the works. The bolts will be trickling in. The different colors of the bolts will be trickling in as quickly as I can get the anodized back because they're already out. Same thing with standard modals. Much the way that we're doing the bolts right now, where we're doing a few colors with a bunch of different grip section options, we're doing the same thing with the bolts or with the modals. So we'll have standard high gloss black modals that'll be with the smooth, and then frag and dragon skin and fluted, and that'll be released. Those will be released together, so you'll be able to select your grip section with the black, and then we're going to have silver hardware that will set those off. So the standard versions of those are going to be coming back as well. And then we'll gear up to start doing more modal special releases and bolt special releases moving forward. But things like, we've gotten a lot of questions around fountain pens. I'm out of decographs in brass and copper, and we have been for a while, and I'll be out of aluminum ones here. I have, I think, 40 aluminum ones that just got sent out that are getting prepped for Cerakote, and then we'll be out of those. We're out of inks, or nearly out of inks. I think we have some copper ones. Maybe, I think we're out of stock on the brass ones, and then I only have a very limited amount of aluminum ones, and those are also being prepped for Cerakote. And then, so all that stuff needs to be manufactured on the machine. So we're kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of production, but this has kind of been something that I've talked about before in the past. Yeah, I'll get to the reactor. Like, that's the first thing once I'm done with this kind of recap, Blake. So yeah, so if you've been waiting for specific fountain pens besides the few vertexes that we have. We're trying to get all that stuff kind of squared away between now and the end of the year. Like I would really like to be back in stock on inks, decagraphs, and all the vertex options that we can possibly have by the end of the year. If you have specific fountain pens that you're looking for, the only reason I'm bringing that up is like we've gotten, I don't know, 10 or 15 emails about fountain pens in the past couple weeks. So if you have specific requests, there's a couple pages. I'll be updating and sending out a link to make a request form. So request a product like form on the website. We had one on our old website and I didn't push it as much as I should have on that site. It's much easier for me to host that type of thing on the new website. And so I'm going to set that up and push that out. So if you have specific pens or colors of pens or finishes of pens or whatever, having that kind of like suggestion box type thing moving forward will be something that is forthcoming here in the next couple, hopefully the next couple weeks. In fact, I'm going to make myself a note right now to remember to do that, because otherwise I'll forget. All right. Let's go ahead and move kind of into the stuff I'm going to show off. So let's start with the Reaktor pens. If you've been around for a long time, you'll know that we released, it's kind of hard to see these. Yeah, that's a really nice one, El Borracho. That is one of my favorites. Super nice pen. I would love to get some more material that's similar to that. So might be something that we do in the future. Okay, so Reaktor pens. If you've been around for a long time, you know that our initial like movement into snap caps and into budget pens was via this release. And this goes like way back, I think, to 2017 when we started prototyping them. And then I think maybe we released them in 2018. Maybe even 2017 was the release. They were a long time ago. It's been quite some time. So the idea behind these pens was kind of like, hey, can we make something that's can quickly be capped and uncapped with a snap cap type of just a silicone O-ring, very, very what we expected to be simple design features, rollerball and fountain pen options, kind of inspired by the space race, and which inspired certain changes in automotive styles. So there was a combination of automotive and space themes. So we released multiple releases of the Reaktor pens, and before we kind of had to stop releasing them, because as I spoke about, I think last month even, or maybe it was in the May live stream, all the material that we got for this release was made in one aluminum production mill, and they had during the process where they alloy the aluminum, they had particulates that had gotten embedded in the aluminum, like organic material. And when you would anodize, you didn't know that it was there until you went to anodize it. So the rods looked great, everything looked great about these pens, and then we'd machine them all, and then we would get them ready to prep, and then we'd send out like the first, I don't know, something like, we made like 8,000 pens, so like 1,000 of each design, because there's 4 designs, or 2,000 of each design. and we sent the first like 1,000 out for 4 different colors. We were gonna the production launch was gonna have silver, blue, red, and black as options. And when we got them back, the bodies where the organic material had been in, there was pits all through the bodies and voids in the anodize. And it literally cost us everything. Like basically, it cost us a ton of money. We had to we didn't know which pens were good. We didn't know which parts of the pens were good, because some parts of the pens would be fine because they're small or they just didn't get affected. You didn't know until you went to anodize them, or until you went to sandblast them, which we don't sandblast our pens. We tumble them in a media, and that's not aggressive enough to cause the organic material to show up. During the anodize process, they use an electrochemical step in the beginning where they use electricity through a chemical bath to strip away any oils that are on the surface of the pens and dirt. And then it goes into the anodizing process, which also runs electricity through the tank in order to force the oxide layer. And when those two things happened, it would strip away the organic material that was embedded in the aluminum, and then it would show up all the problems. So we basically had to scrap a bunch of those pens, because even painting, they were deep enough that even using Cerakote over the top of them would show the etching in them. So we kind of scrambled around and had material, bought material from another mill that wasn't compromised, attempted to get our money back, which nobody got their money back from that mill. And we're like the tiniest. We were the tiniest, we're just a small company. There were huge firearms manufacturers that had gotten massive amounts of aluminum from those mills that took a huge hit on them. They didn't get paid either. But it basically meant that that even when we started selling these pens, we would have had to sell so many of them to make up for the money that we'd lost in the R&D development, and then in the production of that first huge batch of pens that we machined and then attempted to get done. And that just didn't happen. Because we sent products to reviewers with a release date. Hey, this is we're going to release it, and then we couldn't fulfill on that. All those reviewers posted their reviews and said, "This is what you're going to be able to get them," and then you weren't able to get them because we weren't able to release them right away. The buzz around the pens kind of fell off, and then we couldn't, even though they were priced, at the between $40 and $55 was the most expensive. They didn't sell as well as we thought they would. And so I think we ended up selling about 1,500 pens total before we decided to discontinue the line. This particular release, the non-reentry release of this, that we actually did release, the retrograde, was 100 pens. It was the second to the last release that we did of the Reaktor pens. The second limited release, second to the last. And then, so I had 30 of these sets extra over the 100 that we released of the standard version. And those, we had 50, and I have about 20 of those had to get scrapped completely. The 30-ish that I have that are good, we put through a really heavy tumble process. Like you can see it's so worn off. Like this used to be like bright gold. Like this is pretty, the grip on this one is very like saturated, and this is like almost completely gone. Same here, and we took a grinder on some of these pieces and like took off even more to kind of like mimic that like re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, the Reaktor, the retrograde set was 100 pens, and I don't remember exactly how much. Maybe, yeah, $100 for the whole set when it was said and done. Because, like, with all the stuff that we did with the patch and the custom anodize on the original set and stuff like that, I think we charged $100 for them. So this version, we've heavily tumbled them. We added the laser marking here and on the clip, and then there's the Reaktor logos on the top of this. So I have 30 of these. We're going to give away 3 here, and then initially I'm going to offer the rest of these sets to the Pen Club members for $75. And if they don't all sell to the Pen Club members, we'll throw them up on the site as like a last call type of thing, where we're gonna just kind of sell through them, just sell through this set to kind of clear it out. These were set aside in a box, and I was going through some stuff. I was actually looking for other old product, some other old product that I know we have around that I was going to use for giveaway product. So now that we have some, like, I was like, oh, I should sell these. Like, makes no sense for us to hold on to them. They're all assembled already. They're all prepped and ready to go. I might have to swap out some refills because some of the refills might have been dried out because they've been in a box for a long time. But we're going to go ahead and do, give away 3 sets here today on the form, and then the rest of them will be available to the Pen Club members the beginning of next week, and then at the end of next week, like a week from today, if there's any remaining from the Pen Club, I'll go ahead and put those up on the main site. So there's always a possibility that we return to the Reaktor pens or that style of pen in the future. If we do, they'll probably be a little bit larger in diameter so that they'll hold for the fountain pen versions of those will hold a number 6 nib instead of a number 5 nib, and we can standardize them so they'll be a little bit larger in diameter, probably a little bit longer in length. And we'll standardize them a little. If we do come back to them, we'll standardize them a little bit more. There won't be a clipless version for the mini pens. We'll just use the same clipped cap. And if we make a body that's shorter for a ballpoint version, it'll have the longer cap on it. Bill and I have talked about redesigning and re-releasing those pens. I think it's an option that we could potentially revisit. The design of the snap cap design of that directly led to our the Vertex, for us to make the Vertex. So I don't know that there's necessarily a reason for us to not attempt to do that, to make those pens. The only thing is we would need to make sure that this time we're releasing them in a way that makes sense, where we can get back our investment. So yeah, the morning launch set was amazing. I don't have any more of those. We did a bunch of different sets. All of them were space themed. We did the Apollo 13 or 11, I don't remember, anniversary set. And then when they announced the Space Force being stood up, they were talking about that, we did like a tongue-in-cheek version of a Space Force because these are all space themed, we did like a olive one with a brass grip. So, and we had the K-Mod pen holder, the single pen holder that was released with a bunch of those too. So there's a few Stormtrooper versions of those pens floating around that we did Cerakote white with black grips. So we did, you know, maybe 10 different limited releases, and then ended up releasing maybe 1,000 total, 1,000 total standard versions of that pen. Not very many of those pens ended up making it out into the wild. It's probably one of our smallest releases of what we would consider a production pen. Far, far, far smaller than like the bar stock pens, bar stock Render Ks. I mean, I have boxes and boxes and boxes of pens in the next room of these pens that are just scrap. And boxes and boxes and boxes of grips for the pens, like thousands and thousands. I think we had 15,000 grips that are in the next room. Like most of them are all anodized, like red, blue, black, silver grips for the fountain pen and for the rollerball version. They're in the next room. And that's one of the reasons why kind of moving forward, we've used a lot of the same thread pitches on our grip sections and built pens around those, because the Reaktor grips can't be used on any other pens that we currently manufacture. So like I can't take them off and use them on a different body. We'd basically have to make that pen again to reuse that grip or a pen that's similar to that. So kind of sucks, kind of a bummer. But happens in manufacturing. It was out of our hands. We didn't plan to do that. It is what it is. Okay. Speaking of space, we have our next 2 Nebula series pens coming out soon. Again, I'm just waiting on parts to come back from the anodizer before we get these up. The bottom one, this one is the Pillars Nebula. So it's the Pillars of Creation, which I believe is it in the Horsehead Nebula? I don't remember now. But it's Ranger and Typhoon. So FX Ranger is the green, and then FX Typhoon is the light blue. That's going to be a standard release. It's going to be released on the website, probably, unless something crazy changes in terms of, unless they get pushed back because of anodize any further, because I'm waiting for the knobs to come back from anodize. I would think those will be up somewhere around the end of next week or beginning of the week after. So somewhere between like the 6th and the 13th, somewhere around there. This version is the Keyhole Nebula. This is a club exclusive, so you guys are getting to see it, but it was going to go to club members only. That version, it's really difficult to photograph and even show on here, because to me in this picture, it just looks like it's blue and pink. But it's not pink. This is like the most dramatic kind of color shifting. So the base on that one is Liberty, the dark blue. And then over the top of that is Riot, FX Riot, which is the one that does the biggest color change. Like the color shifting on Riot varies anywhere from like green to orange to pink. Like it's a full spectrum on Riot. So you can kind of see some of the green in there, and you can kind of see some of the orange, and there's some gold, but under the most light and the way that it photographs, it looks like a orangish pink color. It's really cool. I like Riot a lot. The weird thing is when you put Riot by itself on a pen, it's like with just a black undertone, because they basically tell you to spray, like to mix the metallic, which is a powder, in with a black base. So the blue, so all the colors on these are all from the powder. The blue is mixed with a black base. So the Liberty is mixed with black and sprayed on. And then the Riot is mixed with clear coat and sprayed on top of the blue after the blue is partially cured, so it doesn't like wipe off when he basically hand wipes the little patchy areas. Super cool color with the Riot, but if you use Riot with a black base and put it on a pen, it just kind of looks orangish red. It's kind of blah. But when it's done like this, it really brings out like a whole bunch of different colors. And especially in like the natural lighting, when you like roll the pen in your hands, it shows off a ton of different colors. So these two are really cool. These are a couple of my favorites. I also actually like, let's see if I have one here. So, this is one of the first pens that we did. So that is Ranger and Riot on the ink, and the Riot in this one looks more red than it does orange. There's some orange in there and some gold. So you kind of see how like these two don't look similar at all, but it's basically super, super similar. And so we're going to continue. I basically told Aaron to continue to do different color combinations and try different techniques and stuff. And so he's got both of those, he's all fired up about that. How do the finishes hold up? They're going to be as durable as any Cerakote finish. So Cerakote's relatively hard. Not nearly as hard as anodized, but they're going to be relatively durable. They'll wear if you have them in your pocket and they're rubbing against a knife or keys, like in the same spot everywhere. But like, they're not like normal paint that's going to flake off. Like these are definitely pens that you can use every single day that you can carry around. If you drop it on a hard surface, they're going to ding or scratch or even chip depending on where they hit. But they're the second most durable finish that we can get on an aluminum pen. Well, the second most durable finish that we will go after, we're not going to put DLC on an aluminum pen. That's just kind of like, I don't know. That's like gilding a lily. DLC on aluminum is kind of ridiculous. And same with like chrome plating an aluminum pen or doing things like that. It's just kind of like, meh. Like this is going to hold up. Like this is be pretty durable. Like none of it is like automotive paint. None of it is specialty paint. This is all Cerakote. So the clear coat Cerakote, the white, all the paint that's on this pen is ceramic. Is actual Cerakote by the brand Cerakote. So the White Flex, the two clear coats, all the FX series, anything that's on these pens that's painted is going to be fire cured or oven cured at an authorized, Area 15 is an authorized Cerakote applicator. So it will hold up. As well as anything Cerakote is going to. All right, let's move into some basic and compact news. I'll move this out of the way for now. So the next two, if you purchased the compact subscription, then those two pens, the top pen is the compact 003. Compact 003. This is going to be the next one that comes out in probably like a week and a half. Very different style than any of the other compacts or basics. Kind of looks very similar to the archive. There are some changes on this at the archive. This was a test piece. Josh was making these pens when we came up with the idea for the archive. And so there's a little bit of archive architecture in here that transferred over, but the archive has a much nicer finish. It has like some tolerances tightened up on the rings, and different, a little bit different tapers on it. But there's some similarities between that. So if you didn't buy it, if you bought the subscription, this is the bonus pen for the subscription. So it's matte olive, compact 001. Half of this bundle was shipped out already. So half the people that bought this will be receiving theirs, and then the other half didn't because they screwed up the anodize on half these pens, and I had to send them back to get re-anodized. So they're doing rework on the other half, and then we'll complete the rest of the bundles. So if you signed up for that, you'll be getting yours. You'll either receive yours shortly, or you'll receive these two pens in the next couple weeks. This is not going to be available by itself. We only did as many as we had bundles that pre-sold the subscriptions. So unfortunately, that's not going to be an option that you're going to be able to purchase. Excuse me. We are going to do a compact and basic bundle. So I'm kind of sitting down to work through which versions of those pens we'll be doing for those, but we are going to be potentially working through that. Figuring out which compacts and which basics to put together to kind of do like a set. Having said that, this is the 000. So the pens that we released, the 250th, the flag version, this is kind of like the canvas that we do all of our basics on. And I've gotten a lot of questions if we'll release this pen raw just as it is. And we're going to release 100 to 150 of this pen like it is. So just straight up aluminum with just a very, very fine texture. There's very, very fine rings on this. And it'll be tumbled. So we are going to release some of those if you've been waiting for those. So that will be available on the site as well. That's going to be the next basic pen that's coming on the site. And then I'm going to have 003, basic 003s, basic 009s, and probably 001s again in the next short while. And then hopefully some brass basics and brass compacts will also be added to the site probably in early fall, since we're so far through the summer already. in the event that we have any additional, so there may be, depending on how many of this pin they get back to me, there may be like 4 or 5 bundles that will be listed on the site of the subscription. So the 4-pin subscription. Because I did anodize. When they screwed up the anodize on these, I sent a couple extras just in case they couldn't fix them properly. So if any of the extras come back and they're good to go, then we'll have 3, anywhere between, like, I think I sent 10 bodies all together. So as many as 10 subscriptions of all 4 pens could be available, but that depends on how the anodize looks, and how many of them actually make it through. A lot of times when they have to strip these and then re-anodize them, the clip screws on are basically, when they strip them, they strip away the threads in there, and we can't fix those because it just makes it too big if we strip them too many times. All right, so that's kind of all the updates I have. We do have a couple. We do have a couple compact 001s in Cerakote that are going to hit the site. Like right now, I think we have Jawbreaker ones up there, maybe Monster Green. We're also going to have some FX series, just all FX series. Like the whole body is just going to be, not like the Space Pins, it's just going to be a shiny. Like, so I think we did Mystique and Typhoon are a couple colors that are going to be available in the 0001 or the 001, the compact, the ballpoint version. And then this fall, we'll see a couple colors get added as like larger releases, a couple anodized colors of both basic and the compacts. So we'll add, I don't know. For sure, there's going to be black compacts that'll be made available towards Black Friday. We always do black pens, but we'll probably also add some standard colors, like a blue or a gray, a green, whatever I can kind of get that's a nice color. We'll add those. So, fingers crossed, all the production, because we're running a bunch of these right now. We're just kind of going, Josh is going from one pin to another, doing 100, between 100 and 250 of the different styles. So we'll have a bunch of the basics and compacts in stock, because right now we're completely out of stock on basics. And I have compact 1s and compact 2s, and I'm about to have compact 3s, but like we don't have a large inventory of the raw pens available for me to do an anodize or whatever. And so, and I'm out of all the brass ones that we made for the basics. So I need to get those back in stock. Sorry. Lost my train of thought. Okay, so that's kind of like everything that I had to show off. We're about 45 minutes in. If you haven't filled out the form, click the link, fill out the form so you get entered to win, because you don't want to miss out on that. It looks like there's 16 people that have completed the form. So if you haven't completed the form, please click the link that's pinned on the chat. Go fill that out. You don't have to be in the United States to enter to win it. We ship internationally on the giveaways. Oh, giveaways. So the biggest, baddest giveaway, all those pins had to be built. Those pins are built. And so we're a little bit late, a lot late. I'm a lot late. Those 150 giveaway pins will ship next week. I'll be drawing from everybody's name that signed up on that list. We had like 800 people sign up. So 150 of those 800 people will win one of the giveaway pins. So those have not been shipped. I'm gonna have Tommy take some photos of us, like, boxing them up, sending them out, and stuff like that, so we can, make sure that everybody that I'm not gonna post everybody's information that who did win, but I will go ahead and put through. Basically, once it's done, we'll do an update saying, hey, all these got shipped out, 150, and then when you get them, you guys can show them off. And I mean, they're nothing crazy special. In fact, they are raw reactor pens. They are, I wish I had one in here. They're basically the Galaxy ballpoint bodies with Galaxy XL caps. So it's a ballpoint pen as a body, but it has an XL cap on it with a clip. But they're just heavy tumbled. All right. So anybody let's do Q&A. So Lopon, the version of this, the reentry version of this release, the retrograde, as far as all of my, I dug through all of my records and everything, this version was never released. The Reaktor set itself was released. The anodized version of it was. But this release where we heavily tumbled them and distressed them, we never released these pens. We may have sold a few of them at pen shows, but these have been just sitting in a box for, I don't know, since 2018, basically 2019. So yeah, this version of them, the distressed version, has never been released. The full anodized versions of these that didn't have the distressed marks were released. So, did you get this version, this specific version of this pen? We did give some away. We did do giveaways with these pens a long time ago as well. And it's possible that some of the earliest grab bags had these pins in them as well. So the KVC, if you look on our website, we actually have a banner on the website. I believe the KVC is scheduled for next Friday. August 7th. So, yeah, that's next Friday. August 7th at 4 p.m. Arizona time. Yeah, so it's possible, we did include some of these in grab bags. A very few select were sent out as grab bags. A very few of these were sent out in mystery boxes as a bonus pin. And then we sold some some of these did get taken to pen shows, but the majority of these, were legitimately, I have an entire box of exactly 30 full sets that were going to be released as a set, and those didn't get released. So you could have got them that way. It's possible. And then, if you're a club member, some club members might have had access to walk-ins had access to a bunch of stuff. A bunch of walk-in people that just see stuff. If we have it sitting out, they're like, hey, can I buy that? And we're like, yeah, we only have 2 of them, or we're not going to sell those right now, but they basically get access to them. So, but yeah, maybe a mystery box. But yeah, we never sold them as an actual release. Those never, I went through all of my photographs, and I have no photographs of them for them to be put up on the site. I have no copy written for them. The logo that I threw together yesterday, I had to find I had to track down all the individual graphics files for the logo. So anyway. Yeah, so if you want that and you don't win today, we have some available. Like I said, they'll be available for like $75. The Pen Club members, they're like the last of the actual like fully assembled reactor pens. Most of them we don't like if I were to put together any reactor pins, like I have some reactor bodies and I have some caps and I have a ton of grips that I could put together, but like they don't match. None of the colors match. They'd all have to be done like raw aluminum, heavy tumbled. And I don't have any nibs for the 076, so they basically have to be put together as roller balls or ball points. So I mean, technically, we could put a bunch of tumbled mix and match ones up on the website, but I don't know if they would sell, and you wouldn't be able to do that much with them. We tried to do a bunch of them Cerakote, with Cerakote, but that's when we found out that the sandblasting also causes the voids to appear. So we sent them out, and he sandblasts the bodies, and when he did that, basically the voids just popped up on all the bodies. So basically made it impossible for us to at the time for us to turn into sellable products. Now we could probably do them as like the distressed Cerakote, because it would look pretty cool with like a two-tone, like the black and the red, or the bronze and the black, the steampunk version. So we could do that on some of them. They'd just kind of be mix and match. That's gonna be a labor of love for me, retro. Like I'm slowly working my way through and adding stuff to that as I have time. I've kind of like given myself that task because we've been asked for a long time if we could put up like a historic catalog that basically gave descriptions on each product, and then had like an image catalog of a lot of the different releases. And so that's kind of where I came up with that. It's just we've had too many releases for us to list them all. Like I can't even remember all of them to keep them all straight. But yeah, it's definitely going to be something that I do from here on out. Yeah, we may put them up without the nibs. I don't know. Like if there are people that have existing versions of the reactor and they want alternate grip sections, you can shoot me an email. We'll sell them. Like somebody just emailed me about it yesterday, and I quoted pricing on grip sections in like individual and then in like bulk with discounts. Like if you want like all the different colors that we have, and that's like probably 10 colors maybe, or finishes. Well, maybe like 6 finishes. Like we'll give you mark them down or whatever. So if you want pieces, like the grips specifically, like I have a bunch of those. We can just sell those. If you want to mix and match your pens or switch out the grip sections. All right. Any other questions before we kind of wrap it up? Oh boy, a bunch of you jumped on this. So now there's 27. All right. If you haven't filled out the sheet, please fill out the form. If you have any more questions, ask your questions, and I will answer them before we wrap things up. But it is 3:54, and so we're going to try to shut it down on time. I'm going to go ahead and start prepping the drawing. Yeah, I think there is a spot for those down at the bottom. I'm going to get to the retired pens eventually. I put them on there specifically so I wouldn't forget them. And especially with us potentially revisiting that, potentially revisiting those pens in the future. Like if I had my way, we would definitely come back and release an updated version of the Reaktor pens. I think the I do think that the concept behind those pens is still valid. I think, you know, that style of snap cap with a clip, something that's a little bit, we'd need to simplify it even more because there was too much milling around the top of the Galaxy pens to make that like crenellated faux finial on the top. We'd need to release only like the Starliner version that just had the peaked dome on it, or like a flat cap or something like that, or maybe just do like adapt elements of the Render K cap onto the body, onto the cap for the Galaxy. But I think if we could come back to that process, that product in the correct way, I think it would make sense. I think it would be beneficial to have that product. It just needs to be streamlined. There needs to be one version or two versions maximum, like a long version and a short version. They all need to, like the ballpoint and the rollerball, or the ballpoint rollerball or the ballpoint style and the fountain pen style need to be like the same style, so they look exactly the same. You just pick your grip with whatever corresponding writing implement is in them. And then I think it needs to be bigger. I think it needs to be a full-size nib, so it needs to be bigger in diameter, potentially. Not necessarily longer, maybe a little bit longer, just so it looks correct, like it looks symmetrical as much as possible. But it also provides a pen that posts when the majority of our, like the ink didn't post and the Render K didn't post. People still give us crap about that. And while the Decograph posts and the Vertex posts, both of those are in a price point or a functionality area that is not like the Reaktor pens. The Reaktor pens were supposed to be they're supposed to be our version of entry level. They might not be what people consider entry level. They're not going to compete against like a Lamy, even like a Lamy All-Star. But they're our version of like an entry level capped pen in terms of the pricing that we could potentially sell them for. So I think there is a good I think there's a reason to have that pen available. All right, let's do the giveaway. Winners, here we go. Mr. Bob Arnson, Mara, and Gala KK. You three are the lucky winners. Ooh, I gotta stitch my side. Congratulations, Bob Arnson, Mara Christian, and Gala KK. If you'll email paul@karascustoms.com with your shipping information, I will get those sent out next week. If you didn't win and you would like to purchase one of these sets, if you're a Pen Club member, you'll have access to them probably on Monday or Tuesday. You can shoot me an email if you're a Pen Club member now and you want to reserve one. Just let me know. If you're not a Pen Club member and you want to purchase one of these, you're gonna have to wait till the end of the week, as long as we don't sell them all to the Pen Club members. So there'll be more information on that. The only other thing that I don't have with me is the Urban Dusk Archive. That launches tomorrow. That's our latest production version of the archive. It's a matte gray with black color scheme, kind of like our most stealthiest version that we've released of the archive so far. We are sold out of the Survival Red and the Professional. We will be working on brass versions of the archive. I don't want to say shortly, but like they're on the schedule, and they're pretty high up on the schedule for Josh to kind of work on those. So if you're waiting for or had questions about the brass archive, it's coming. We are going to be moving forward. You're going to have on the Karas Customs, Karas Pen Co. website, we're going to be adding more of the refill customization options to all of our ballpoints and rollerball pens. So you'll have a bigger selection. Specifically, a lot of them will be getting the option for the Monteverde gel ballpoints. Pricing is going to change some on our ballpoint and rollerball pens. The Schmidt Easy Flow and 950 refill pricing has gone up significantly. So the prices on those are going to go up a little bit. And then the pricing on the Fisher Space Pen pens with those will be like it's going to be any of the pens that we offer the Fisher Space Pen in will be $5 more expensive than the other versions. And that might be the case for the Easy Flow as well, because the last quote I got on Easy Flows was nearly as expensive as the Fisher Space Pen refill. I don't want to say cheap, but the base version that's going to be the most inexpensive version will come with these Monteverde, either the extra fine or the fine Monteverde gel refills. And we will be switching all of the compacts after the 03 go out. We'll be switching to these Monteverde refills in the fine tip size. So they'll come with a gel refill as opposed to the Easy Flow. They've gone up $1. The Easy Flows have gone up. Our pricing has gone up $1 in the last 12 months for Easy Flows. So you'll see that moving forward. But you will be able to customize your archive purchases and your bolt purchases and any of those. And I am going to probably add refill kits to the Everyday Karas site. So you'll be able to purchase the different types of refills on Everyday Karas directly. So if you buy a pen, moving forward, you'll be able to do that. So, all right. That's all I have, guys. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always shoot me an email. Paul@karascustoms.com. Easiest way to get a hold of me. If you are one of the winners, please send me an email with your information. That way I can get you your winnings. If not, I'll see you again here next month. Thank you guys for being here as always. Hopefully next month we have a bunch of stuff to go over, because I've got a bunch of stuff back from Cerakote and a bunch of stuff back from Anodize, and maybe even a brand new pen, because I didn't talk about this time, but we are prototyping a brand new pen. And it's kind of an exciting pen. It's a pen that I am really excited to see, to have a version of it in my hand, because it's using a mechanism that we've never used before, something kind of different. It's not a mechanism that I've seen on any pens to my knowledge. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Once I get that in my hand, it will be very, very interesting. It might end up being the coolest pen that I own, and I'm kind of a little bit salty about that because because I didn't think of it. This is a Josh, our shop foreman, came up with this idea. Like, we bounced ideas off of each other, but the main concept of this idea came from Josh. At first, I was very skeptical, and then after we sat down and talked about it while Bill was on vacation, he convinced me that this is going to be pretty cool. So yeah, so I'm gonna let that marinate. I'm gonna let you guys marinate with that, and then hopefully next month I have a version of it, even if it's just a really rough version that I can show off. It's gonna be pretty cool. So, all right, I'll leave that teaser there. Have a great, safe Friday. I will see you guys next month. Thank you for being here with me. Bye, everyone.